This is the Stadium of Light, home to Championship club Sunderland AFC. Hello, my name is Richard and welcome to another episode of Grassroots Football Journeys, where we look at the history and home grounds of another local football club. In this episode we're going to look at the origins of a club who in the early years of the Football League were one of the biggest and most successful clubs in the country. This is the story of Sunderland AFC. Sunderland AFC were formed in 1879 by James Allen as Sunderland and District Teachers Association Football Club, and they played at Blue House Field in Hendon, next to the Hendon Board School where Allen worked. Blue House Field is now taken over by the Race Carter Sports Centre, and Sunderland AFC played here until 1881 when a new club, Sunderland Albion, took over the site. In 1880 the club allowed non-teachers to play and they changed their name to Sunderland AFC. Needing a new home, Sunderland AFC played in some fields in the area known as the Cedars here in Ashbrook. Not much is known about the exact location of the pitch or even which matches took place here, but this plaque has been erected to mark the spot where it is believed to have been. The club moved again in 1882 to play here at what was then known as Groves Field but is now the Ashbrook Sports Club. The club only played 4 matches here and it was their last home ground south of the River Wear. In 1883 the club moved again here to Horatio Street, also known as the Dolly Field. Located next to a clay pit and brickworks, the pitch was often waterlogged and the players used to get changed in this nearby pub, the Worsley Arms. However, while playing here, the club did win its first ever trophy, the Durham Challenge Cup, in 1883. The following year, Sunderland AFC were on the move again here to Abbs Field. This was the first ground where the club were able to charge spectators a fee to enter the stadium, and it was located just off Fulwell Road where this housing estate now stands. Although not home for very long, the club recorded their biggest ever victory here, 23-0 against Castletown, and they also changed from their original blue kit to the now famous red and white stripes. After nearly 8 years of moving around the local area, the club leased a new ground on Newcastle Road in 1886, and this would become their home for the next 12 years. The ground would host the club's first ever league match in 1890 against Burnley, and while playing here, Sunderland AFC won 3 league titles in 4 years. In the 1891-92 season, Sunderland won all home matches played in this stadium during a record-breaking run of 81 home matches without defeat. One full England international was also played here in 1891, and it saw a 4-1 victory for England over Wales. Although this historic ground played a big part in the club's history, nothing now remains to suggest that Sunderland AFC ever played here. Despite the success at Newcastle Road, the club left in 1898 to move to a newer, bigger ground called Roker Park, which would remain their home for almost 100 years. In its heyday in the 1930s, the ground regularly saw crowds of over 60,000, even topping 75,000 on occasions. Roker Park was one of the host venues for the 1966 World Cup, including a quarter-final tie between the Soviet Union and Hungary. In later years, the capacity dropped to just over 20,000, and by the early 1990s, with the club on the brink of promotion to the Premier League for the first time, the owners began to look for a bigger site. Sunderland AFC moved out of Roker Park in 1997, and it was demolished the following year to be replaced by this housing estate. Road names such as Midfield Drive and Goalmouth Close remain a reminder of what used to be here at Roker Park. In 1995 the club acquired land on the disused Monk Wearmouth Quarry, and the Stadium of Light was opened in July 1997 by Prince Andrew, the Duke of York. Despite rumours to the contrary, the ground was not named after the famous stadium in Benfica, but was in fact a nod towards the mining history of the city. This Davy lamp you can see behind me is the true meaning behind the Stadium of Light. The Stadium Light hosted its first England international in 1999, a 2-1 win over Belgium which saw Newcastle United striker Alan Shearer score the opening goal. In total, the ground has hosted 6 England internationals, with Italy the only visitors to win here. This year the stadium was close to becoming a Premier League venue for the first time since 2016, but Sunderland AFC lost to Luton Town in the Championship playoffs. My name is Richard and this has been another episode of Grassroots Football Journeys, where we've looked at the history and home grounds of another local football club. As well as these little football documentaries, we also bring you some great unique drone footage. We'll be back next time with another episode of Grassroots Football Journeys, where we'll look at the history and home grounds of another local football club. Join us for that one coming very, very soon. And don't forget, stay tuned for the drone footage to come. We'll be right back.